Hey guys, this is Jason, JC316, and today I'm going to be showing y'all how to change the intake gasket on a GM 4.8, 5.3, or 6.0. Job's probably pretty similar on the LS1 as well. I've been chasing a crappy little random multiple misfire on this truck, and I'm pretty much to the point now that I'm thinking the intake gaskets are leaking, and GM did issue a TSB on this, so I'm going to crack it open and take a look. It's a big truck, so I gotta climb up here. First thing you're going to want to do is disconnect your battery, because we're going to be working in the general vicinity of the alternator. Next thing we're going to want to do is get the intake tube out of the way, and that's just a flat blade screwdriver. Here and here. You can technically leave all this attached and just take it off, but I don't think I'll need to. And it looks like I may have a leak there anyway. So I'm gonna take this off and need both hands, and I'll be right back. Alright, once that's out of the way, you're gonna want to take the throttle cables off. That's 3 8mm here. It's 8mm or 5/16. Boy, that hose is right in the way of that electrical connector. And you'll also want to disconnect it here, and this first one, let's see, how does it come off of there? Just pry it off? Never seen one like this. Now, let me take a look at this real quick. Alright, I got it off, and it's this stupid little clip right here. It goes in right there, and then this just slides off. It's kind of a case of GM reinventing the wheel. So you really want to hang on to this. I just used a curved pick tool to pry it out of there. And you'll definitely want to hang on to this, otherwise your cruise control cable here ain't gonna stay on the pin. See, it just slides off. But provided they didn't do anything funky on this one, you just slide it forward and out like that. And take the 3 8mm 5/16 out, and the throttle cable will just bend out of the way. Alright, next thing we're going to want to do is get this upper plate off. It's just 2 10mm bolts there and right there. So I'll knock these out of the way, and I will be right back. Alright, once you got that out of the way, the next couple of steps are going to be the wiring and the evap. I have to get this out of the way. Get the wiring out of the way. It looks like it's going to be a 10mm bolt there, and an electrical wire way up under here, and depending on where that wire goes, it may be this one and that one, and that should get it up and out of the way. We won't have to take the wiring completely off. That probably goes to the transmission, but we just need to get it kind of up and out of the way off the top of the intake. So I'm going to work at this for a second, and I'll be right back and show you what all exactly it needs. Okay, so to get the wiring off, you're going to have to get the 10mm nut off here, disconnect the IAC, the TPS, and I believe the map sensor or evap sensor of some sort. Get that out of the way. Then you're going to have to get the alternator plug out of the way. And the fuel injector wires, and this connector here. I think it goes to I don't know what that goes to. Okay, to get these fuel injectors off, there's a little tab you press here, but if this truck has never been worked on like mine, it's gonna have these funky little gray clips. Okay, and this, it basically just clamps to the wire and then slides down in there. So what you got to do is pull the upper axe looking part out and then pull it straight out, and that'll give you access to the clamps that you need. Well, once you got all that out of the way, this just kind of loosens and you can work around it. So the next things we're going to want to do is disconnect the fuel from the fuel injectors. Now, I've heard you can leave this attached, but honestly, there's not a whole lot of room, so I'm just going to get it out of the way. So, take the cap off the shredder valve and bleed off pressure. You don't want fuel spraying everywhere. And forewarning, do not have an open flame or anything around because gas is going to spray out of here. Alright. Now, there's a clip on there, which we'll take that off and then use one of these guys to take it off, and it just clamps to the line, slides up in there, and you work it a little bit, you know, release the spring, and then the fuel line will just pop out of the way. And side note, screw the person at GM that decided to slope this. You'll slide right off from it. Alright, I'm going to get the fuel lines disconnected and I'll be right back. Alright, once the lines are disconnected, you can move on. And a fun trick with these, if you pull them toward you and then slide the spring clip tool up in there, it'll come off a whole lot easier. So now what I'm going to do is take the fuel rail itself off. And what that involves, let me get you some light. That involves 4 bolts. That one, and there's one under that evap line, and another one under that evap line, and they're 8mm. So as soon as I pop those off, I'll give a little tug on them and work them and pop each individual rail off and then just slide it out of the way. So I'm gonna need both hands. Sorry about the cutouts. I'll be right back. Alright, once you get the fuel rail out of the way, things get decidedly easier. Next things we're going to want to do is disconnect vacuum lines. You got a big one here, you got the PCV here, and you got a real big one that comes off the brake booster and then goes back there. Personally, I'm just going to disconnect it from the brake booster itself because I don't want to even try messing with those clamps all the way up under there. And I think that's it as the way vacuum hoses go. While I'm here, let me show you how to get this evap line off. If you look, there is a tab right here. You want to push that tab down and then slide the clip back that way, and then that'll just lift right off. So if I can do it one-handed. But yeah, that's how you get that clip out. And I'm going to return as soon as I get all these vacuum lines disconnected, and we will be ready to pull the intake. Okay, that clip is in actuality the spawn of Satan. It refused to let go, so I just took out the 8mm bolt that holds whatever the hell this sensor is in, and now it just pulls right out. There's a little O-ring on the end of it. So get that out of the way, and then I can work at this one and the brake booster hose. Just wanted to show you the plan B if that clip is giving you hell. Alright, those vacuum hoses are out of the way. Be careful with this one. You'll have to use some pliers to break it loose, but be careful not to break the end off from this. Otherwise you may be in trouble. Okay, next thing you're going to want to do is get a vacuum and get all the trash out. Mine was obviously under trees, and you can see there's a lot of gunk down in there. You don't want this going down into your heads and your intake, so be sure to do that, and then we'll be ready to pull it. Okay, now that all the gunk's out of the way, or at least the majority of it, there are going to be 10 bolts that hold the intake down. They're all 8mm, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And same story on this side. One down kind of in front of the alternator, or behind the alternator, and going back. Now, also there is a hidden vacuum line that goes right there. And I'm going to wait until I start getting the intake off before I get it, because I don't want to try to get a pair of pliers up in there on the hose clamp. But that'll be the last guy you have to worry about. And as soon as that pops off, the intake comes off. One other little vacuum line there that I missed. But I'm going to take that off and we'll see where we stand. One other thing I forgot to mention is that pesky EGR. Pipe goes into the side of the intake. There's a 10mm bolt that holds the front cover on. You want to be particularly careful anytime you're working with plastic intake and around metal. It appears to just bend out of there, and that'll take the pipe loose. Now you can give the pipe a little pull and a little bend, and out it comes, and an O-ring went flying, so I'm gonna have to retrieve that. But fortunately it's a flex pipe, and that'll get it out of the way. And you'll know your bolts are loose whenever I have poor lighting. Like that. They won't come out, but they are loose. So I'm going to finish up the other side, and I'll return shortly. Okay, so these hoses under here are actually water lines, not vacuum lines. So I don't particularly want to open up my cooling system right now, and they're a pain to get to, so I'm just going to take the throttle body off. There's 3 nuts, one here, and one up under there. And that will then just kind of slide out of the way, and I'll be able to lift the intake right out. So, be right back. So it took a bit of work, but there we are. Now your knock sensors are there. GM has a TSB where you should seal those around the rim with gasket sealer, just because all of water can run under there and rust them and cause a code. I've actually got that problem with my Firebird right now. I'm fixing to have to pop it open. But yeah, there's your knock sensors and all the gunk up under my intake. Damn. And these are the original gaskets on here. It looks like I definitely had some leakage going on. So hopefully this is my problem. Now when you go to reinstall these, there's a specific torque sequence. You can get online and just Google image search it, and you can find it. And it's I think 44 and 88 inch-pounds in a crossing sort of pattern. So look that up before you reinstall your intake, and I'm guessing there's going to be something there that I might have to do with the EGR. But thanks for watching. Hope it helps. Have fun.